Góðan daginn. The Reykjavík Grapevine also has a store. It funds our journalism. It sells all sorts of stuff, including specially curated gift boxes, just like the famous Icelandic hot dog box. Go shop there now and fund our journalism.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Iceland Roundup, brought to you every Monday by the Reykjavík Grapevine. I'm Jón Trausti Sigurðarson. With me today are Sindri Eldon.
Góðan daginn.
And
forgot about that.
And
I will make this stick. I will turn this into a thing.
And substituting for Aðalsteinn Kjartansson, who is away because his daughter's preschool closed due to staffing issues this morning, which led me to ask him the question, whom will you vote for in the upcoming municipality elections, is Buff Cameron, the editor-in-chief of the Reykjavík Grapevine.
Yeah, but we have a blizzard
He ended up on the underside of...
It's not that.
He ended up on the underside of the wheels of industry this time.
Yeah.
Aðalsteinn's Reykjavík proper, right?
Reykjavík proper?
Like not... He doesn't live in Kópavogur, no.
Yeah, he's not a true suburban.
He lives in Laugardalur.
Yeah, he lives in my area.
Oh, right, of course, he lives right next to...
Yeah.
Yeah, my new suburban lifestyle. No, it's not suburban because it's the heart of the city.
Well, I feel like it's kind of the oldest suburb in the city, honestly.
It's sort one of them, yeah.
Grew independently, and it's got a lot of big old houses. Like it's suburban to me, you know. Right.
I'm gonna do a quick overview of the topics I've written down. You are welcome to add to them then. So last week's news highlights here. Icelanders will vote on reassuming negotiations with the EU this fall. Standardized school tests are back after a 5-year absence.
Which we got the letter for, right? You got the letter this week.
Yeah.
Did you? And I had to sign some things because my kids start today, I think, with the tests.
I'm not sure actually. This is one of those things where I didn't actually do.
This is like a middle school
look
thing?
at it? Yes, the middle school kids. Yeah. Well, also the last year of elementary school.
Right.
And then
I forgot
the price of food has risen faster than salaries. Oil prices are gonna be going up, which relates to international incident ongoing.
I'm sure no one's heard of it.
And the price of food is obviously going up because the breadbasket of Europe is in the 4th year of
it could also just be local greed. It's very hard to tell.
Which we have been looking into. The wholesaler fights.
And
I suppose you could argue that the breadbasket of Europe is being invaded due to local greed.
Yeah.
And then the Chancellor of the Catholic Church in Iceland had some great PR last week. And then for some quickie news, fish has been washing ashore in South Iceland, and the locals are picking up and eating it. Which is unusual. Usually you have to go out there and actually catch the fish, but not this time around.
Yeah, they're breeding much more pliant fish now. That's what those fish farms are all about.
They've managed to
the fish are like, eat me.
Well, the fish watched this Instagram post, and it was about like, I don't know. I was gonna go with the Black Sand Beach Instagram posts where this is the opposite angle where the fish watched it and decided to try out.
That's pretty dark.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, it's I don't know. I mean, 6,000 odd years of domesticating sheep have kind of made them docile. Maybe it's our chance to like domesticate.
The fish must die for us. I think it's Putin and Trump are sending their boys out to die for their country. We're just sending our fish to the shores to die for us.
Well,
that's a pretty good compromise.
Do you want to start with the fish?
I always start with fish.
You can start with the fish.
We'll be on the potatoes by the end of the episode.
It's Monday. It's traditionally fish day.
Yeah.
Really?
As opposed to the other days, which are not fish days?
Well,
I thought it was Commonwealth Day. It said it on my calendar.
That's too common for me. No.
I like that. That was good.
So, no, there was like this. Sometimes you have these odd short stories with actually very little explanation and just a single quote from a single person, and this is one of them, the fish story.
Yeah.
So, fish have been washing apparently on shore at the small fishing village of Stokkseyri on the southwest coast.
Right, Stokkseyri is in another UNESCO site in in Iceland, is it not? As in Stokkseyri on the peninsula of Snæfellsnes Peninsula?
No. Stokkseyri is
Stokkseyri is
sorry.
next to Selfoss.
Yeah.
It's next, close to the jail, actually. Which is in Eyrarbakki.
You're thinking of Stykkishólmur.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, close enough. I mean, there's a lot of small villages. I confuse.
It's one I've been to a lot, though, Stokkseyri, unfortunately. So I'm extremely embarrassed to be mixing it up.
Well, I keep mixing up, kind of obviously, Ólafsvík and Ólafsfjörður. One is in the north, one is in the west.
So you collectively have probably offended like 8 people.
Yeah.
Stokkseyri is not that small a fishing village.
It's, I don't know, and I confuse Stokkseyri with Eyrarbakki, which is the next one to it. So I just call it Stokkseyri to kind of avoid
the greater Eyra area.
Yeah,
the greater ear.
To avoid the fact that I can never remember which is which.
Okay.
So you're not the only one here.
No,
And one of them has our jail and the other one doesn't, but I'm not sure which is which sometimes.
One of them is the home of our drummer, my drummer, Kopert.
Oh,
from
Stokkseyri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, I think the jail is at Eyrarbakki. There's a weird story about that because the community wanted to build a hospital, got together a lot of funds 100 years ago. Not enough to like complete it, so the state took it over and changed it into a jail, which is not what they signed up for.
Anyway, the fish.
So you want a big building with some sick people in it? Yeah, we can accommodate you there.
Fish are offing themselves en masse on the shores.
Yeah, so fish are apparently floating ashore in state fresh enough to be eaten. So some of the locals have actually been picking it up, according to Vísir's story this weekend.
Yeah,
and eating it,
well,
and
not raw. You know, they cook them as you would a normal fish.
I'm not sure how like
they're not making sushi out of it, are they?
Probably not. But this is due to, and there's a single quote here, to a local fisherman.
I'm not eating any sushi this week, I can tell you that.
He says that there's abundance of fish out there, but the heavy waves have been washing the fish from the like sort of shallows out there.
Yeah.
Hitting some rocks and just knocking them out and killing them, and then they float ashore, and then people pick them up and eat them. I don't know if this is like leads into a bigger story about inflation and the price of food, but
how are fish still around? Like after what, like 500 million years?
Yeah.
Like how are they still so successful? Like and everywhere, they're just like the dumbest, weakest pieces of shit you can imagine.
I mean, wait until you see a Greenland shark, man. Those dudes are alive for like a half a century, half a millennia.
You know, they get so old that parasites eat their eyes and they go blind, right?
Yeah.
But they can still hunt seals somehow, and nobody really knows how.
Yeah,
like
I guess
they find like seals in their stomachs in the condition that like they were not scavenged, like they were eaten. They were preyed upon.
I guess if
nobody really knows how they do it.
If you do something long enough, you will be able to do it like blindfolded.
Yeah, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah,
I like that.
No, but it's just it's one of those weird stories that have a single quote in them and are kind of strange. But there were pictures, so I sort of believe this.
When the Grapevine was founded,
because they can't just make up pictures now.
No.
Like there's some world-killing plagiarism machine churning away in multiple countries.
Yeah, this is actually going to turn into a story about how much of our electricity was spent on creating that fish image. That fooled me.
I did an AI search today and felt so guilty about it. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was just a stupid search, and I still clicked the AI button, knowing I was like, "This is like gonna destroy." This is such a waste of energy when I click that AI search button.
I hate what a workaround it is to not use like AI to do like a regular search.
Yeah.
I remember I was very grateful when I picked up if you were doing like a Google search, if you just end it with -AI, it won't show you AI results.
Oh, that's helpful.
Skip them, yeah.
So,
but that leaves you with Google results, which is not helpful either.
Right.
It's at least a start. You're at least sort of politely requesting not to be lied to. I think if you do an AI search, it's just like, yes, fill my head with bullshit, please.
Yeah.
Just kill the planet so that I can feel slightly smarter.
The fish story and the Greenlandic shark story remind me of how the Grapevine used to serve here on this location, and when the harbor was more of a working harbor, and we used to watch the fish catches come in, And then one day we were here, and somebody came in with 13 sharks, 13 Greenlandic sharks. They would put it on the top. They would just leave them on the deck of the boat, and then they'd have a crane to pull them off. It was amazing. So we saw them getting taken out to Snæfellsnes where they processed them. It was different. Reykjavik was different 20 years ago. It was more of a working city. I keep on thinking about this because you and I are part of a sports organization where the sponsor was Lisi, and they dropped the sponsorship. And I feel like that's because Reykjavik is less of a working city, kind of, whereas other cities are more working,
less
more identified with industry.
Yeah,
and
perhaps
the fishing
less
industry was so big here before.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really say much necessarily about the decline of Reykjavik itself, but the fact
it's just a change.
Yeah, just the fact that industry has just slowly been gentrified out of the city proper, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of goes because I mean, it's still like the fisheries that fucking own this country, right? And they, for the most part, live in the greater Reykjavik area, right? And I think, it's not an accident, like, that they, that they prefer to just think of these fish as, like, these money-making machines, then they can make investments in other things. And, they don't want to see how their own sausage is made anymore.
They don't want to hit in front of them. I mean, this harbor, by the way, so before I make another error like I do with Stokkseyri, what do we say, Faxaflói Harbor, right?
Yeah, well...
because I know they just won Harbor of the Year for which is kind of a big deal.
I think Faxaflói...
The Reykjavik Harbor of the Year?
I think Faxaflói Harbor is the name for the harbors in the Reykjavik area.
Yeah.
And, like, you can kind of argue that we have, I guess, two. It is the Reykjavik Harbor, which is the one next to us.
Yeah.
Which is both the Grandi part and the one that's just outside of... 101, which is traditionally the old harbor.
Yeah.
And then we have Sundahöfn, which is
the cargo docks.
The cargo and the larger vessels, which are next to Viðey Island.
I wonder which one, but the Faxaflói company or organization.
It's like a city organization, yeah.
Won the big award for. I was amused because it said Best European Atlantic Harbor, which seemed... I guess they're considering the Mediterranean outside of.
Yeah, and the North Sea or whatever. Like I don't know.
It seemed like a big award.
Probably just it's probably like a FIFA Peace Prize. They're just like giving themselves an award for being.
We don't have negotiating
cool.
power to get a FIFA. We can't threaten people. So it seemed like the harbor is commendable to a lot of people, but it's so much out of our existence that I was like, well, how did you get? Because we know the person who is that Faxaflói?
Voted most fun harbor to visit for a 5-year-old by the 5-year-olds of Iceland.
Yeah. Well, it's just we're so removed from the workings of the harbor now.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with they're just taking up these. They're accommodating for these massive cruise ships. Which you kind of don't notice. I mean, you see the surge of people, but you don't notice you see
the onboarding.
No, you don't see it, and you only see like the smoke from the chimneys.
Yeah,
because they kind of drop into the cityscape.
Sometimes you look in the wrong direction and you see this giant tower of suck just shadowing everything.
Yeah,
coming here from Seattle, where the ferries would really disrupt things constantly.
Yeah,
it's quite a difference.
Yeah, it's so I see them very frequently because I live kind of nearby Sundahöfn, so I see them sort of when I'm driving back home, and they're just like these gigantic, humongous apartment buildings afloat with a 19th century chimney smoke coming out of them.
Yeah.
They're like a clip art from Monty Python or something on the horizon.
Everything that's wrong with the world.
Yeah, I guess it's then and I've gone down actually to where people go through customs and passport control.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that we didn't have that many of these in the until very recently, they don't really have the infrastructure to accommodate for this.
Oh dear.
So what they've done, they're building it, but there would be like these kind of big tents on the harbor to deal with this.
To do these massive cruise ships, and massive cruise ships are a way people more and more are coming to Iceland. And we know for August 12th, the eclipse, there's going to be kind of a record number of cruise ships on the way.
It's going to be probably like a whole floating, almost I'm making this up, obviously, but to me, like the first thing I think of is like something that is aching to the population of an Icelandic city, just floating somewhere conveniently for the eclipse.
It'd be probably a large Icelandic city.
Yeah,
I know there were 18, right? I thought
cities.
No, 18 cruise ships.
For that?
Yeah.
I don't know. How many people do these have on average? Like 5,000 or something?
Yeah, and all these people have to go through like a processing center that's like an ad hoc tent.
Well, at this point, if
up.
they dock, obviously.
Yeah.
So I assume they will. But yeah,
This is our obsession, right? Trying to cover August 12th in advance and the infrastructure.
Oh,
it's
God.
staggering what's going to be happening as people come to Iceland to watch the eclipse.
Can you imagine like what the media reaction would be if they had tents like that to process, the people coming through the airport? It was like, oh, but because it's like rich people, because it's cruise ship people, I'm sure they're harmless. They're just coming here to spend money. Please let them in. Please let them come in.
The aesthetics of this are kind of interesting because it's these gigantic tents. It kind of reminds me of one of two things I've seen. One thing I have, neither of which I've actually seen like with my own two eyes, but one of them is like it looks kind of like a refugee camp. The other thing it reminds me of, and this is even almost darker than that, is the intensive care tents they put up in Sweden during COVID, like military tents, camping. So they would be running sort of like, these, military ad hoc intensive care units outside of the hospitals because they were all full. And these were all like antiquated 80s military gear. It's kind of weird to see.
Well, let's hope it fucking dissuades these floaters from ever coming back here.
But no, I like anyway. They seem to be building something nice for them. But no,
good. I'm glad that someone is thinking of those poor cruise ship jerkwads.
I mean, the whole infrastructure question is interesting because like we're expecting record numbers here for the eclipse.
No, the eclipse, yeah. And
the best places, the best locations in Iceland to see the eclipse is going to be
inside a volcano.
It's going to be
not that far.
Come right this way, sir.
Not that far from where they wrote the book inside the volcano.
You won't need your jacket.
This one I do know. This one is.
Are you talking about Snæfell's?
Yeah, this one is
the Jules Verne book.
Yes.
The Journey Through the Center of the Earth.
Yes.
Also, where people in the 90s arrived en masse to welcome the aliens.
In the 90s?
Yeah, you remember this?
Oh boy, do I remember
my favorite.
I think my grandma was there.
Have you ever heard of this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an astonishing thing. But
it maybe requires explanation to
it requires drugs, I would imagine.
I think some boomers whose acid hadn't quite left the system decided that aliens were going to land in Snæfellsjökull in the mid-90s.
In the mid-1990s, yeah.
And there was...
But this is a tradition at Snæfellsjökull.
Like weird shit?
That's Jökull, yeah. Of people kind of expecting weird things to happen there.
Yeah,
it's been a gathering spot for...
weird shit.
For hundreds of years, basically.
It has...
I think conspiracy loons still maintain that Snæfellsjökull has some sort of occult status and that it might be indeed like a gateway to Hollow Earth or something like that.
Yeah, I think it also like, even like the oldest manuscripts we have, in them there's mythical things applied to the area.
The oldest Icelandic manuscripts, which is essentially the oldest European manuscripts.
Some of them, yeah.
Somehow refer to this one location where in the 1990s...
there's just like the Bárðar Saga Snæfellsás, sort of the saga about some dude called Bárður who lived there, has him sort of transform into some sort of a higher being or something. I can't remember, but it's all kind of weird. A magical being, yeah.
Fuck beast.
We were going to run in this issue the folklore from there as well.
Oh.
Obviously,
Axlabud. Right.
The only Icelandic serial killer.
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember, was that body count was 13 or 18, but he used an axe.
Is this 19th century?
No, this is the 14th century,
14th
I think. Or
century.
15th. It's pretty... It's pre-modern, I think. I think it's like late medieval. But I want to say the 16th century at the latest.
Groovy.
So that's all in this region where people in the 1990s went to meet the aliens that were going to visit Iceland, and this specific... it's actually my favorite vacation spot, kind of, from Reykjavik, because you can drive there from 2 hours, and it's really beautiful. And there's a really classy hotel if you've got the money, a Hotel Búðir.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's a great meal, and anyway, that glacier is more accessible than most. It's also the best blueberry picking, kind of, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. The blueberry picking there is really good.
So, in the 1990s, they went to visit aliens, and now, strangely, for this August 12th
the aliens
eclipse,
came to visit us. That's where they were going to land.
Yeah.
And then when they didn't land, I assume there was some sort of orgy. I don't know.
I think I can also, like, there's another, like, fact about the area which is kind of interesting for Icelandic history, and, you know, the history of Australia, incidentally, relates to it.
Wasn't expecting to bring Australia in.
No, so in the late 1700s, the first sort of naturalists, or whatever you call those sort of, you know, Enlightenment figures, wanted to go to Iceland for, you know, first for like reasons that had to do with recording just geology and stuff like that, and also just to record plants. But they came here originally like a French expedition and then an English expedition in the late 1770s. No, early 1770s, to witness an eclipse. And the English expedition was run by somebody called Banks, and he was an aristocrat who had a couple of years earlier funded the first Cook expedition to Australia.
Okay.
Didn't go on the second expedition because he was such a prima donna that Cook couldn't deal with him. So instead he went here for that purpose.
Okay.
But yeah, so, you know, it's kind of the origins of Icelandic tourism also date back to this.
Stifusness.
The first Englander to not come here because of lack of crumpets on record.
Yeah, but the you know, then you know, in the decades after this, is into the early 19th century, people were coming here for, you know, more of the same, and then into the 19th century, you get to like those Victorians eventually who really were into the sagas.
Yeah, can I just point out you've got the best English tourists probably in the whole world for Iceland, because you've got Auden coming and writing letters from Iceland, and was Tolkien here in person before he essentially riffed off of Icelandic culture to build one of the more engaging works of literature.
I wonder if it was the trip to Iceland that led Auden to infamously remark to John le Carre that he was feeling very unfucked. Or like tragically unfucked or something like that.
So, like...
Yes, I went to Iceland feeling tragically unfucked as a result. Don't think I shall be going back. Yours, W.H.
Oh, the Empire. Oh, the Commonwealth. Too common for me.
Tragically unfucked.
Yeah, well...
underfucked, I think it was. I'm feeling very underfucked.
So not okay. There's a slight difference, but...
yeah, I mean, like, Icelandic people, they'll fuck you, but, you know, they'll underfuck you. It's not...
I mean,
it's insufficient, really. For a man of Auden's appetites.
Yeah, so like another famous Englishman who came here in the 19th century was William Morris, who's now most known for his textile designs.
Right, and his diary or memoir is what you learned when you're in when I was at Háskóli Íslands. To try to learn about Icelandic culture. It's an interesting. It's available. Yeah,
it's in both obviously English and Icelandic.
Sorry, University of Iceland is what I should have said, not Háskóli.
But all that aside, like back to the infrastructure, this is going to be interesting. Just so we get this out of the way, because these places in the west of Iceland, which will be according to
sorry, in fact, we didn't name the two places that you're going to be.
It's Snæfellsnes, and it's going to be. Is it the south parts of the Westfjords?
It is
southwest.
South part, yeah.
And these are. I mean, Snæfellsnes is not far away, really. It's like 2.5 hours of a drive from Reykjavík. The southwest parts of the Westfjords take a bit longer to get to. Let's say about 5 hours. But neither of these locations have the infrastructure for like mass traffic in any sort of like the road on Snæfellsnes is like, would you maybe consider like 1.5 width?
Yeah, I think you might find these drive times will multiply somewhat in the lead up to the actual eclipse.
And I think the nearest example I can think of which this might turn into is the 1994 50 years anniversary of the Icelandic Republic that was supposed to take place.
When there was like a 30-mile traffic jam all the way to
I think that it, 40 minutes away from Reykjavík, and it was just like a weekend of traffic jams.
Did you go?
No. So like I was in Laugarvatn, so we saw no point in adding to the jam. We were doing something.
Even back
else.
then, like our roads were insufficient to our cars, and we just keep pumping cars into this country. Just more cars. Give us more cars.
Yes, they're warm.
Almost like it's a fucking
Icelandic overcoat
poisonous plague upon our society.
Cars are literally just an overcoat for us. Don't
Not
take
for
my car.
This has gotta stop.
It's a very expensive overcoat.
Yeah, we talk a lot about this in the office. We don't really put it in writing.
Also an overcoat that will fucking kill you.
Yeah.
If you don't.
We talk a lot about it in the office and trying to put it into writing because
I get shit-faced and put on an overcoat. I don't kill anybody.
That's because it doesn't have 4 wheels.
Yeah.
So back to something else. I mean, I guess kind of the biggest story in local politics in the week that passed was that the government finally announced that there would be a referendum on August 29th, if I'm not mistaken.
August 29th, yes.
On resuming negotiations with the EU on joining. So not on joining the EU, but resuming negotiations about... it's kind of a...
I like that we have anti-EU parties and pro looking into maybe someday joining the EU parties.
And I think this is kind of an interesting story because usually like the rumors of this something like this would have spread locally first, but this was actually in the international news a couple of weeks ago because Politico published a story citing some anonymous sources within the EU about this. And then nobody here would comment on it until this announcement was made.
Oh, interesting! It was leaked abroad.
Yeah, that's unusual for us. And I mean, I guess some of the talk last week, well, the opposition obviously made a series of kind of terrible arguments why we shouldn't be voting at that point. One of them was like people are still on vacation, which is categorically not true. It's usually
it's also a shit argument.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, because
this is
once again the right proves how in touch with the common man they are. Because
that's gonna be the Friday of the first week of school. People are gonna be back.
Yeah,
generally,
whether they like it or fucking not.
I mean, we have, for our American listeners, we have long vacations in Europe here and in Iceland included.
The vote's on a Friday.
It's on a Friday or Saturday, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We always...
My bad. And the official time frame of using up your vacation days is from May 15th through September 15th. No, sorry. Yeah. No, May 1st, sorry, to September 15th. But most people obviously take their time off in July because everything is closed anyway, so Iceland kind of shuts down. At least the wheels of commerce kind of slowed down for that period of time. So
it feels like Aðalsteinn's here, doesn't it?
And traditionally, like the municipality elections, which are taking place this spring, they're 15 days into this period, which is May 15th.
Yeah.
And this is 15 days before the period ends. So I don't like. It's a really weird argument to make.
Yeah. Imagine that, a right-wing politician full of shit.
But it's I don't know. It's I kind of was pondering also like why they're doing it now, because they talked about like in their whatever you call stjórnarsáttmáli when they created the coalition
covenant of governance. I don't know.
They put together like a document of their like goals and aims and
and they got to start ticking stuff off the list a bit more forcefully, haven't they? Because they've not been putting out any bangers.
It's been rough, but they talked about.
You're saying the current ruling government has not put out any bangers? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, in the proverbial sense. I'm not expecting them to make sausages.
They're not losing popularity
or popular tunes. But yeah, they've sort of fumbled a few of their major issues. This media bill, which you of course decried as woefully inefficient.
It's kind of
and the housing thing that they kind of fumbled as well.
And then we have the biggest one, which is all over the news, is
their failure to keep Davíð Oddsson alive.
Well, it relates to cars, right?
Right.
The big problem is they switched from just getting your tax off when you pump your gas to trying to calculate it off the miles you drive.
And it's been a bit of a shit
where
show.
Everybody who owns a car has to try to calculate their own what they owe to the tax office, right? And especially bad for people who rent cars, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's.
This gets to the heart of what fundamentally irritates me so much about taxes, and I think everyone else, is not the idea that paying them is bad, is that they make you work so hard to give someone else your money. Like, why can't they? If they want my money, they can come take it. But they should do the fucking work.
I agree with this. I just want sort of medieval extortion. Somebody just shows up at your door and asks for your money and then beats you up.
Was it
if
a
you don't
bear
have it.
in the Robin Hood? Robin Hood.
The Disney one? I think he was a wolf, just like a really fat wolf, wasn't he? The
Okay.
sheriff of Nottingham.
He had like a whistle when he talked, I think.
I mean, Little John was a bear.
Yeah.
I think the sheriff of Nottingham was like a fat wolf with a southern accent.
Yeah, that helps. So if we could get a
It was
fat
clearly
wolf,
the same guy who did the voice of like one of the long-eared dogs in Aristocats.
so we need that person to come to it. What you didn't say in your news week is it's tax filing week for Icelanders.
Oh yeah, remember to file your taxes. It's fairly simple unless you have a very complicated life. Because it's all online.
Yeah, we really do make it easy.
Yeah,
here.
it's all online.
To do that, if you're a foreigner, you're going to go to Iceland.is.
Or skatturinn, like
it's not hard to find.
No.
Like,
just go, you'll find it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty, like, if you've been working kind of a normal day job, everything should have been filed into the system. You don't really have to do that. You just have to make sure nothing is missing, and then you're okay.
If you own nothing, like most people do, then...
well, even if you own stuff, it's still going to be in there by default. So it's kind of a... unless you're like a contractor who has like a lot of things all over the place, it's going to be pretty easy.
Which is a lot of people now, I guess.
So this was the distraction from, you were saying, the timing of filing this referendum on whether to continue negotiations on the EU.
I think so. It was originally like people were expecting it in 2027. I think they're moving it forward now because they want it to happen. They want people to like agree on it.
Yeah.
And historically, it's been shown that when inflation and vextir.
Yeah, inflation.
No, vextir.
Is that not inflation?
No, like.
I'm not going to be able to help here because I actually don't recognize the word.
Oh, what's the thing? Wow, my brain is just flat. Like the thing, like you pay a housing loan and
do we need to take a
interest?
Coffee break?
Yeah,
interest.
Yeah, in an environment of high interest and high inflation, people are more supportive of the EU because they tend to collectively believe that joining the EU would lower these things. So we've been having a spout of that, so I think they want to write on that, as bad as it is, rather than not.
We are having...
I know I'm not sitting in a room full of economists, but, is it not entirely possible that is kind of true? Like, if we were on the euro, maybe inflation wouldn't be quite so bad?
We make our own inflation. That's kind of the problem, to an extent.
Yeah, but wouldn't we be less empowered to do so if we didn't have this own bullshit currency with all the fish and
not so very
priests
much so.
on it?
That's kind of the problem. Not so very much
fish
so because
priests.
Like, I mean,
we pray to Dagon here.
Yeah, but you kind of like, people tend to like say, well, the reason why we have inflation is because we're terrible at running economies, but that's not entirely true either, because the problem is that our economy is made up of like a few large components which are all prone to like massive fluctuations. Tourism, fisheries, these are things that are really hard to like deal with. So it's not only our fault, it's also the fact that we just have such weird unreliable elements in our economy.
Yeah,
but
I'm not saying it would fix it completely.
I mean, that's one thing. The other thing is is that the international environment has been very stressful for most countries, and America, Greenland, all those things, and this seems to have sort of increased popularity towards leaning towards the EU. And I guess they're thinking well, the midterms are coming up, so if we do this before we know if that's going to be the thing, like the case eventually.
The U.S. midterms?
Yeah, so the U.S. midterms are in what, November, October? And I guess they're kind of worried if Donald Trump turns into like a complete lame duck president, that the existential worries about our security situation will kind of dwindle. So they want to write this before that happens, if that happens.
That's an interesting take.
I'm not sure if that's what they're thinking, but that could be.
My theory was locally, we have the city politics, city elections, municipal elections coming up, which, by the way, foreigners can vote in.
Yeah, if you live here.
Yeah. Just trying to drum up some numbers for that.
My theory was this that diverts attention because things like Sjálvstæðisflokkur and the Independence Party locally has been rising in popularity, whereas this is something that reminds you of who's in power nationally, which is so it takes kind of discussion away from the city politics, which I thought might be the goal.
Like that might actually make more sense than either of the two things I mentioned, except for maybe the inflation. I think the inflation really
inflation is concerning. Like my bank loan, the way it works is an indexed loan. Right, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, it's packed to inflation. So my
principal actually will go up in a couple of years. So I'll owe more on my home than what I paid for it.
Yeah, your loan will grow with the inflation.
My loan grows, which is the way a mortgage worked in the United States, but the principal didn't change.
Yeah.
But here the principal changes, which is very painful.
I think we're the only European country to do this. But
would this be illegal if we were in the EU?
I think not. I think this was actually kind of looked into after the collapse. I think there were some attempts made to figure out whether or not this was illegal, but it turned out not to be. But it's completely alien, I believe, to most other Western European economies.
But inflation just feels so much more painful in that circumstance.
It looks worse, but it actually what it does is that it actually makes it less painful in terms of your monthly payments. Which oddly, so you just instead of getting punched in the face right away, it just beats you up sort of slowly.
Yeah, more body shots.
Yeah, it's more body shots.
It bruises your face slightly with a hammer. It makes you look better. So you look better while you owe more. The important thing is to
a bit about, because we're on the topic of inflation. I mean, it was in the news also that the price of food has been rising faster than salaries.
Is that news? I'm sorry.
Salaries in Iceland are very low. I mean, I think.
Well, they're very high in currency, but low in terms of what you purchasing power.
Purchasing. Yeah. I think for anybody who's thinking of moving here from America, you might be fascinated to see the difference in what a high-paying salary will get you. But
it's like it's numbers, like if you turn them into dollars or euros or something, they look really good, but once you start like living on them, they don't seem that great.
Yeah, especially if you're kind of a young professional looking. I know I associate with a lot of young professionals for like dads gather for beers, which is not something I did in America, but now I do here. And if you're gathering and they're looking at 2,000 kroner a beer, which is what it is, right? Boy, your salary doesn't look like it goes very far.
No, it does really punch you in the face, for a lack of a better metaphor.
Yeah.
No, because like the other thing that we know is going to be rising now is the price of gasoline.
Yeah, which will in turn make everything cost more.
Yeah, which is going to be an inflationary source too. So at least a case of something where foreign things actually cause local inflation here instead of being homemade.
Yeah, but Iceland has protection against fossil fuel inflation in ways that most countries don't.
No, it's just the cars basically and the ships, but not the housing.
Yeah, the ships bringing all our stuff here, like like we import everything. And it's going to start costing more money.
I think the barrel of oil it's gone above $100, which is insane.
It used to, I feel like for a while now, it's not been super worth it to, when you travel abroad to do a lot of shopping, because if you crunch the numbers, it's like you can actually just get it sent to Iceland for not, a comparable amount. Are we going to see a return to the era of, holiday shopping? Because that used to be, a huge thing.
Well, you're not going to
People would do
holiday
it
in the United
obsessively.
States. We know that the flights to the United States are not full anymore. People aren't going there.
Yeah,
So
I'm not suggesting anyone holiday in the
They're not
United
going-
States.
But that's
I'm
what
not
they-
a psycho.
That's where the shopping trips used to be, right?
To London, Copenhagen,
My plans are to go to Serbia.
famously.
this summer.
Serbia?
I'm going to Serbia this summer to do some water polo.
Yeah.
And I might
Nice.
do some shopping in Serbia.
Yeah, I hear
I'm definitely
going
going to do some eating.
Here you can buy some cheap balls there. What do you need for water polo? Nets? Balls?
A death wish.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about like it's kind of like the water version of self-flagellation, I think.
Yeah.
Really? Is it that? It looks so easy. It
Yeah,
just looks like a bunch of guys
it's-
splashing around.
It does. And when
shorts.
my friends come by, because we play at Lordas, the pool, and some of the musician friends walk by, and they were asking to play kind of, and then they're like, "What? You're standing, right?" And we're like, "No, we're not standing in the water. This is
It's illegal, right? So you
well,
can't
it doesn't
touch the
matter.
bottom.
It doesn't matter because it's 7 feet, so deep.
Yeah.
So you're not
Yeah,
gonna. You could be standing, but you'd be well underwater. So it's pretty uncomfortable to be treading for that.
So would it mean like if we have somebody who's like 7.5 feet tall, could
Yeah,
they
that would be
legally-
illegal.
Okay, they couldn't
It would be
stand.
actually harder for them to play, which is why somebody who's not enormously tall like myself kind of enjoys water polo, because at least we're all on equal lack of
Yeah,
footing.
about time. Yeah, I guess like I mean, the effects of those strikes or whatever the hell you call the situation in the Middle East now.
Yeah,
It's a war. Let's just call it what it is.
Well, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a war, and it seems to be sort of like creating chaos in orders of magnitude that are kind of almost unconceivable.
for
Like
the economy, and then we're going to be looking at probably dealing with migration patterns changing.
yeah,
I don't want to be flippant about this, because obviously my sympathy is to everybody.
If you're in a war
this
zone,
is
yeah.
horrific, but
No.
we're looking at we're already having a lot of kind of the rise of political parties opposed to immigration. Well, if you suddenly generate all these
More.
people, new war, and people fleeing all over having to flee countries, you're going to be looking at probably more immigration, I would assume.
Yeah, I guess like this kind of speaks to my annoyance at
That's the
current.
only thing I've heard so far that, where it seems like, it was to any extent thought through by Trump and co. Like that, because that's good for them, right? Like if, anti-immigration sentiment is like
Oh,
a boon to them, but in every other way,
Yeah,
it
but
they're just shafting themselves
But to the-
really, really hard.
To the incumbent, like U.S. officials like J.D. Vance, who spoke at Munich last year and decried how terribly Europe had been dealing with their refugee crisis.
yeah.
Just don't fucking bomb the Middle East.
Don't create many more refugees.
And
Did you see? He's already
then-
seems like he's distancing himself
and
from
then
it.
and
like-
then complain that we don't close our borders enough. What the fuck? Like, it's insane.
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what an American politician says. It's for the people back. It's because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
going to run for president in 3
but,
years, 2 years,
Yeah,
and it doesn't. It's for them. It's for that. It's like it's basically just he's building a little montage of clips of
But,
him, looking like he has a large penis.
that is he like? I mean, are these politicians just unaware of the past 20 years of history, or
They just don't care.
they just
I mean,
don't
I think
what do you think? No idea.
Do I think the
JD
J.D. Vance is unaware of the past 20 years of history? I don't think J.D. Vance is unaware.
Didn't he serve somewhere out there?
I believe, as I understood it, I thought he served in Iraq.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. Yeah, that sounds about right.
He ran a Baskin and Robbins there.
Well, I don't want to make light of any service. He certainly is a veteran. So
Yeah, I don't know what we
I don't want to.
No, and
I feel like many of his what I'm sure he knows, he speaks against it frequently on various topics, and it's very confusing. So his knowledge is not the issue; it's his actions and behavior that are the issue.
Yeah.
Whereas perhaps the president of the United States, his knowledge is an issue. I don't think he has any knowledge or any interest in obtaining it. But the J.D. Vance has knowledge, and so his behavior is almost more concerning because there's no explanation for why.
Well,
Yeah, in a way, it is scarier, than just like
it's
Trump's kind of moronic
because like the fact of the
brain
matter,
fart kind of ignorance.
I think
like,
maybe
it's like this
JD
kind of
Vance,
willful, selective sort of. This is what gives me more power, so this is what I'm going to choose to believe.
And you can see it more clearly with Vance. Like he knows, and from his life experience that he knows. So, so I don't know if it'll go over with the public the same way. Whereas Trump, he doesn't know.
No,
and so it's almost more charming. But it's not charming is not a word to use now because he's.
I don't think I've ever heard the word Trump and charming in the same sentence.
No, I'm kidding.
Well, he's at least like.
He's not cynical. He's just dumb. Is what you're saying, I guess.
Yeah,
or illiterate or unaware.
Well, I think it's just Wall Street in the '80s. You just learn that all you have to know is like this very select subset of like abilities of like being able to selectively yell about certain things at certain times.
But he was a failure in all industry, right? I assume he was a failure.
Yeah, but I mean he is shaped by it. Like I'm not saying that he learned it with any success, but I'm just sort of, and that's the world like all of these assholes come from.
Right, but again, it comes back to the confusion over Vance, who was a success in all areas.
Yeah,
objectively.
Yeah,
and then you see this behavior now. It doesn't.
No, but I mean, it's just like because at the other end of any refugee crisis is the fact like nobody wants to be a refugee. Nobody wants to like be a part of a mass migration because of massive turmoil or war.
Well, you do if you're a right-wing politician who stokes the anti-immigration fears to your own benefit.
So like these people creating these push factors for these people.
Yeah.
And then declining to have any accountability on their behalf for doing it. That's a crime in itself.
That's what hurts. Yeah. That's what I keep on looking at and feeling. Obviously, being involved in the communities I'm involved in as a foreigner in Iceland, and I definitely hear these discussions. It's not easy to give up your home country.
No. So, to a lighter talk, the Chancellor of the Catholic Church in Iceland was in the news last week. Apparently they have some sort of I don't know what even you call these things.
Did his pants fall down in a humorous way, or perhaps he tripped and fell on some religion?
I think the Catholic Church has been kind of quiet in Iceland since their latest scandal some years ago involving...
God, it's nice when they're quiet.
Involving abuse of students at the Catholic school here. I don't know.
Landakotskóli, they famously... there was a suicide following the accusation and then the eventual confirmation of...
guilt?
Of molesting... about a dozen students. This is a close personal history to my family. We didn't have a child there, but they're our neighbors, and we know them pretty well. And I
had two friends who went there, and they're kind of, three I guess, and they none of them turned out pretty good. They all kind of
there was old
sick people,
all kind of types of abuse going on, including the worst type. But the chancellor here was he was making a very public stance against homosexuality, which is
a bold stance, truly.
Which is kind of
what an original.
I guess reminding our generally non-Catholic population here of the worst aspects of the medieval views of the Catholic Church, which I don't know. Weren't they talking about having sort of sexual orientation correction courses or something like that?
Yeah, they call it conversion therapy.
Conversion therapy is the word. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal in England right now.
Yeah, and he said something to the effect that this is according to the Bible, and the Icelandic state can't tell me what to do. It's the Bible that does.
The difficulty for this particular discussion is that this is a church and a location that is famous for molesting children, and you want to send people who are at risk to be counseled on their sexuality by people who have been documented as violating children, at-risk children. So, like fool me once.
Yeah. This seems in so many ways kind of a bad.
Imagine thinking that saying this is going to positively contribute to anything. It's just like, I'll pick this exact moment to speak out
I'm just
against
curious if they're
homosexuality.
doing the conversion therapy in a white van and saying, free cookies and conversion therapy to recruit these, because it's really, as somebody who was raised in the Catholic Church, I am repulsed by.
I think what I'm kind of most
in the Catholic Church.
What I'm kind of most surprised by the story is just the sheer tone deafness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, given their recent history here, like what the like.
I mean, if you're a servant of the Catholic Church and you open your mouth in public and you say anything other than like, "Please forgive us, we're trying to be better," then just like you're
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut the hell up. Like, try to read the fucking room.
Yeah, it was just.
This was indeed in the news. Was there a protest following?
Well,
it?
there was actually I don't know if there was a protest following, but there was like this kind of interview with this chancellor whose name I forget.
Good. Let's just.
So yeah.
Yeah, people are really talking about it and really upset. We've not really discussed it much in our paper.
No, it also it's also like maybe I'm wondering whether or not like the rise of sort of these internet oriented trends of the brosphere and sort of toxic masculinity that comes with it, maybe they're speaking into that group. If
they are empowering it.
If they're thinking at all, are they thinking like maybe there's some market for shit like this right now?
I mean,
because we're importing these really weird internet subcultures into our culture here, which have to do with like turning around, like getting the patriarchy up and going again, making sure women can't vote, etc.
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge subset of like these, alt-right brosphere guys who are deeply and proudly religious,
which is also
and
kind
I
of
think
funny because like these.
I think a dying religion will see this and latch onto it.
Because like
here's some way we can
because it's kind of all funny to me because like Nick Fuentes and what is the name of those fucking repellent human trafficking brothers who were
I've blocked them out.
Yeah, what's the name of them?
The ones that were evacuated.
The Tate brothers. Who, is that I can't think of anything as gay, in like it's like they're like Nick like they're it's like to them this masculinity thing is to like not talk to women, right? Like not talk to women at all.
Copy their hairstyles.
Only hang out with other dudes. And I don't understand how any of this is like heterosexual.
Yeah.
So like
they're gayer than we are.
I mean, I'm sorry, like, and I mean
we're
that,
just
like,
sitting here in a tiny room with no pants on.
I mean that, like, and then they tell you, like, hey, like, they will explicitly tell you, like,
microphones in our
talking
mouths.
to women or having sex with women or hanging out with women is really gay, is what they tell you. Like, this is like literal quotes to these people. Yeah. Like, this is really confuses me.
Eric Cartman and
for real. It's like
this
it speaks back to like this generation of people, who my generation, who grew up watching South Park and maybe not really realizing that it's satire, like not lacking the the age and maturity to realize that you're not supposed to root for Eric Cartman.
So all of this wildly confuses me. I don't really understand anything here anymore. Because I think there's nothing wrong with being gay, but their version of what is being straight makes no sense to me either.
I wish I didn't understand what the Catholic Church. I wish they would do something a bit more unpredictable, because like it's just like
I will say
stop it already.
Yeah, this was a really horrible misstep, but the Catholic Church in Iceland is pretty strong and getting stronger because of the change in demographics.
Oh
we
yeah,
have a
the
large
Polish population.
Polish
obviously,
population.
yeah, they are by default usually Catholic.
Or what about the Baltic states?
I think. Wait,
Is it mostly just Poland?
I don't know actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure where the Catholic sphere ends and the Orthodox begins there.
Yeah. The Philippines as well, like right?
That's Catholic, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got a few of
And
those.
then it gets kind of confusing in the center of Europe for me.
Right, with Ukrainians changing the day they celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, because they're traditionally Orthodox, but they've moved away from the Russian Orthodox faith because of war. And but then like where the fault lines lie, I have to like look this up in terms of like the East meets West, the Orthodox versus the Roman Catholic. I'm not entirely sure where that lies always.
No, but otherwise you would see, I mean, I would say the Catholic Church had an improving reputation locally before this recent
Yeah,
kerfuffle.
they had been kind of like, they have been like improving, and this is just...
This has enraged a large
this has
percentage of
not
the
been
population.
helpful to their cause or their willingness to have more Catholics at
They
all.
got the coolest church too. It kind of sucks.
It's a very black metal church.
Yeah,
It's
the
cool.
Atlantic Church.
Very black metal.
It's awesome.
Very gothic.
Yeah, of the several large buildings that guy did, I feel like that's kind of my fave.
The last topic on the agenda is standardized school tests are back after a 5-year absence.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this just because it's in the news like every other year when we do one of those when Icelandic kids participate in the so-called PISA tests, which is like a European check-in on how our kids are doing in math and reading. And every year
How their towers of math are leaning.
Every year our scores are poorer than the previous year.
It's got to lean, all right.
And then 5 years ago...
Is that why they call it the PISA test?
Because we're leaning? I don't know, give me a high five here on both.
Oh, right.
That's all.
I can't.
So, but when they were trying to figure out what the problem was, they realized that they weren't doing any standardized testing anymore, so they couldn't even begin to figure out where the problem lied.
Yeah.
So they've decided to do those standardized tests again, I guess as a way to try to figure something out. So, the part of the discussion last year about this was that, it was kind of flying blind in sense of trying to figure out what to do, because you didn't really have any stats anymore that were comparable. But this all leads back to a whole discussion about standardized testing and whether or not it's any good. And America has a terrible history of this, right?
Right. So America, you're talking about the No Child Left Behind Act.
Yeah, which turned into an absolute disaster because kids were then taught to take the test, but not to actually learn the material behind the tests, in a sense.
You used were taught.
Yeah.
It's still
a thing.
That's 100% the current system.
Leads to people just getting honed in to take those tests to score well, but actually not learn anything useful at the same time.
Right. Most famously, this year we have, I believe it was an Atlantic Monthly pointing out the number of Ivy League students, students at the best universities in America who have never read a book, is far, far higher than you could ever imagine. Yeah. So.
Working great in all sense, yeah. Working great.
Yeah, it's funny always to see stuff like that and being like an aspiring writer with like a book in the pipes, and it's am I just part of some like dying art here? Am I like a lute player in the age of the electric guitar?
You're in Iceland where people read books and give books.
Yeah.
As long as we avoid the standardized testing, we can keep the people literate and engaged.
We managed
but our the amount of people here who've actually read like a whole physical book, that is on the decline as well.
Well, we managed to do both actually for the longest time.
So before there was a change in the national disbursement of funds for education, and this was what year roughly?
Oh, the 90s, early 90s. Are you talking about when the municipalities took over from the states?
Yes.
Yeah. So that happened in the early 90s.
Okay, and so and a lot of people talk to me off the record about how that was the beginning of the change. End. I don't know about the beginning of the end, but the beginning of the change of the educational system in Iceland.
Yeah, I think it's...
From what to what?
From some kind of grand Iceland punching always above its weight academically to Iceland being stuck in this quagmire of unable to prove that they're educating and then unable to diagnose what the problem is on the educational system. That comes, over and over again with this.
Yeah.
We keep on hearing about it with reading comprehension, reading speed, and then these standardized tests where Iceland does not perform particularly well.
No.
I'll say, so you're still graduating. The number of Icelandic born students who obtain PhDs is staggeringly high, and I think their performance at the highest level of academia is almost unparalleled internationally.
Yeah, but they're still writing on a system of the past, not the current one.
Oh yeah, this is okay. So,
but yeah, it's true. Like I to an extent, we've done pretty well. I mean, our university isn't exactly top notch, but we do sort of pump out a lot of PhDs and those PhDs are not often taken here, but abroad.
Right, exactly. So we can say that I have a great deal of fondness for the University of Iceland and also the Reykjavík University, but and Akureyri.
Yeah.
But the people, they obtain their BAs there and then usually have to go abroad for their
They often do, yeah.
masters and doctorates. And in my experience, not a lot of people dropping out compared to even American educated people. So there's something that works out there. I feel that there's an elasticity in the thinking of Icelanders.
Yeah,
and the way they're prepared that you don't see elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there is this sort of lackadaisical attitude when it comes to like how grade school especially is handled here, and I don't feel like that's changed much, in the last few decades, honestly. And I feel like if people are committed to academia, that's something that they'll pick up, in their teens, when there's still plenty of wiggle room to do that, and. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be regarded as a big deal. I mean, the primary aim of school, grade school anyway, is to just like socialize children, and as long as like that's happening with some success, it's just like standardized tests or not, I don't think it really makes that big a difference.
But the standardized test will be horrifying to non-native people. Like the people that I associate with are terrified of the way the education system works.
I think it all comes down to how they will actually, how should I put it? How they actually, not phrase them, but how they conduct, like what kind of material they will come up with to test.
It is kind of shocking to see some of these tests and like realize how provincial they are, like how obviously written by like Icelandic people who don't get out much they are.
Yeah, but so
it's
like
what
I'm
very
saying
tailored toward like this sort of.
What I'm saying kind of is that if they will sort of like make your math exam hang on whether or not you can understand complex Icelandic sentences,
which is true, they do.
Which is
that.
true. It's kind of like unfair because then you cannot actually show your math knowledge unless your Icelandic knowledge is impeccable.
Your Icelandic is being tested as well.
But so your Icelandic is being tested there as well. Meanwhile, they also test you for Icelandic. So that's kind of, they have to kind of think about how they do that.
I think it does sort of relate to what I'm saying though, because it's like, these tests are obviously, they're written by people who sort of staunchly cling to the importance of like formal, proper Icelandic.
Yeah, but
even in the face of like the practical necessity to not do that.
It could also just potentially be the idea that this wasn't thought through because they're like picking up they're just doing standardized testing again, and maybe they're just looking at the tests they were handing out 10-15 years ago where you really didn't have a lot of immigrant kids here.
Yeah.
Where this wasn't such a big part of the landscape, and then you're not understanding that this is going to be inhibiting for some of the kids.
And these are always like these little, offices that are controlled by these kind of, incumbent bureaucrats who've been sitting behind the same desk for 40 fucking years. And, and
I think you're giving them more credit than is due.
They've been lying down on the desk, not sitting.
I think
they don't have the gumption to even sit upright, is what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll see. But I think we're kind of stretched on. I think we've kind of extended.
We're out of time because the Loive concert is this weekend.
Oh,
and David Olsen's funeral is this weekend.
David Olsen's funeral, state funeral is on Friday.
in the Laufey.
Davíð Oddsson, former Prime Minister of Iceland for 13 years.
Can I see that paper real quick?
It's a good thing they didn't have both those things happen at the same time, because I think the
it's back to back.
I think the
coverage of Davíð Oddsson, which I'm very proud of, that we brought in.
The last
Helgason for this.
The Venn diagram of people who are interested in these events is pretty much just a circle, I would imagine. So.
Of Laufey and Davíð Oddsson?
Yeah.
Check out the article, The Last King of Iceland. It's kind of the first local attempt to kind of deal with his legacy.
Yeah.
It's by our local author called Hugumar Helgason. It sort of dives into like the complex relationship many of us have with his tenure as Prime Minister, as mayor, or as governor of the central bank, or as the editor-in-chief of the last daily paper in Iceland.
The man who ruined all our lives in so many ways.
The man who
just couldn't stop finding new ways to
the man who
us.
also sold all your genetic information.
Yeah, the man who sold the banks, the man who was the central bank manager during the economic collapse.
I mean, that was not a joke. He actually sold the genetic information of all Icelanders.
Yeah. The man who privatized a lot of Iceland, the man who kind of is the face of like very sort of substantial changes in Icelandic society in the 90s, and the man who took us to war with Iraq, which is
Coalition of the Willing.
Coalition of the Willing. It's a very sort of intriguing first and a fairly good attempt of getting to like grappling with this.
Our feature by Hugumar. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah,
it's a very good piece, and I highly recommend people look it up. It's on our website.
Yeah.
I can post a link to it also in the description of this. But I think we should sign off now. What is your sign off again, Sindri?
I don't know. It's too long and confusing. It's just a phrase I never use. Yeah, that's right. Gondheim.
Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of Iceland Roundup.
Am I making this show too stupid? Like, I failed my standardized tests.
I would point out like the level, like the level of stupid around us in the world today is so staggering that
I gotta keep you guys honest. I gotta react as the average Icelander would react to
I
the stuff you're
I
saying.
still said Stokkseyri is in the other part of the country, so I win.
No. I mean, did you just recently plan to bomb a country of 90 million people and not think about the consequences?
Oh, so I win. I didn't have the worst. I didn't have this. This podcast is not the worst thing done this week.
The bar has never been lower.
The bar has never been lower. Thanks for listening and watching, and we will see you next week. God damn.
Allah willing.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh, go daginn. The Reykjavík Grapevine also has an online store. It funds our journalism. Go shop there and it helps feed our journalists, just like these geese are being fed by bread. Fuck.